welcome right here in the B Lounge of the B Lane Network. I'm your host, owner and founder, William Bo Martin. And we're right here in SC 1775 where the B Lane studios are housed. And we have a very special treat for you today. It's our actually first live taping of the B Lounge. We had our first taping, a live taping with an audience last week at the end of the day with our two co-hosts, Shantae Motre and Nicole English. I mean, I just love to say that, Shantae Motre. But anyway, we had a great time, we had a great audience, and we're looking forward to today's show. So this week we have something very special. We have people running for office in the state of Georgia, DeKalb County, Fulton County, state representative, judges, what have you. So we're going to bring them on so we can see and learn more about the people, the person, not just the candidate. Of course, we will hear a little bit about their platform, but more importantly, we want to hear about them and who they are. So stay tuned for more of the B Lounge right here at SC 1775, bringing it to you. Welcome right back here to the B Lounge. I'm sitting right here. Like I said, you never know who's coming to the B Lounge. And I'm sitting right here with Scott Hughes, Georgia State Representative, District 90. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. So the main thing right here we want to do is let people know who you are.
Okay.
Of course, we want to hear a little bit about your platform, give you some time, of course, to talk about that. But the main thing is, who is Scott Hughes? Tell us where you're from, where you're born, you're raised, a little bit about your background.
Okay. My name is Scott Hughes. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I've been in Georgia probably about 15 years. My background, pretty shaky when you compare it to other people to get into politics.
Okay.
I grew up on the street in Detroit. No father, absent mother, you know the stereotype. But I was able to get out of Detroit, go to college, kind of put it down there. I lost my way while I was in college a little bit and started making a little fast money. Got in a whole bunch of trouble, and the Lord found me while I was in the middle of that mess and just started pulling it apart a little bit at a time. He wasn't gonna let me be as successful as I wanted to be.
Okay.
So one thing led to another. I found myself in Georgia. You know, I did get a degree, I did graduate, found a job. I remember my life turning around when I had my son. A lot of things that I had to lay down and put away, and now I'm a man of God. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm going to keep the faith. I'm going to fight the good fight, and I'm going to finish well.
Now, you look so young. So you've been 15 years. How long you been in Atlanta?
I've been in Atlanta 15 years. Yeah,
okay.
I'm 42. I'll be 42 in March.
That's
so.
a good age.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah,
getting there.
That's a good age.
Yes.
I'm 43.
All right, then.
You're looking good.
Then. Well, you know what?
So,
I aspire to be like you then.
Watch out.
You're holding it well. You're holding it well.
Watch out. So how old is your son?
My son's 11 years old right now, going on 12, and one of the things that inspired me to run for office is watching what he's got to deal with in this world. A lot of what I have to say and a lot of the platform that I have is not going to be a stereotypical Democrat versus Republican. I'm looking for good ideas. I don't need a whole bunch of people to tell me, you know, their views on things. I'm a thinking man. I know how to sit down and I know right from wrong. I have a very strong faith, and God is my center line. And as long as I don't stray too far out of my lane, I'll do all right. Yeah,
and since you said that, kind of tell our audience and our viewers, what is it like, what do you see are some main issues, not so much as far as your platform, but you personally, within some of our communities that we really need to address?
Well, being in Georgia, I moved to Georgia. I thought it was a beautiful city to live in here in Atlanta. I thought that there was a lot of opportunity here, especially for black people. And coming from Detroit, a city that was dying, I see those things happening now that was happening then. And if you look at Detroit, I don't want to make this all about Detroit, but if you look at Detroit, you'll see whole city blocks that are just vacant or abandoned, where the city would rather come buy the one house that's standing from you so that they don't have to pay a trash truck to come down there to pick up your trash. It's cheaper that way. I see a lot of the same things happening here. I see a lot of teenagers that are kind of aimless and without direction. I see a lot of adults that are not leading. I see a lot of just decay, moral decay, physical decay, a lot of things that are going on, and I think if we don't start to reverse the trend pretty soon, we'll be on a slippery slope that we won't soon be able to get out of.
Mm-hmm. So how does that play into your platform?
Well, my platform is about the quality of life, and I'm about dealing with things before they become a crisis. If you turn on the news today, every story is a crisis, something happening that you have to do something immediate about. Case in point, the DeKalb County school systems just told everybody that they were in debt $73 million and they're not going to be able to make up the budget, so they have to fire a bunch of people. I don't know about your house, but I don't think $73 million would sneak up on me.
Absolutely.
Now they're saying $85 million, and they're going to have to raise property taxes. Now I have a bunch of people that are in my neighborhood that don't even have children in school, and they're going to have to pay higher property taxes to deal with this debt. Why can't we spend our money wisely? Why can't we look at it before it becomes a crisis? Why can't we clean up our neighborhoods before the property values goes down and somebody from across the tracks has to come in and buy it up and clean it up for us? Why can't we enforce the violations that we see? Why can't we stop drugs and prostitution that are happening right out in front of our kids? Why can't we do the little things so that the big things will take care of themselves? Before I get any deeper, I was impressed. I walked through this door and I see a bunch of us in here that are running a quality production. Production is no joke, and I understand what it is that you guys are doing, and I just wanted to say I appreciate it. I appreciate the venue, and I appreciate being able to speak here.
Yeah, we appreciate you. So with that being said, we're going to come back after the break and kind of give us some of your solutions to some of the issues and problems that we have and in our community, and then kind of tell us a little bit more about Scott Hughes.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll be right back with more of Scott Hughes right here in the B Lounge, bringing it to you. Welcome back here to the B Lounge. I'm sitting here with Georgia State Representative Scott Hughes, and we were talking about some things, some of the things that he saw, some of the ills in our community, some of the issues, and right now I want to kind of get some of your solutions, maybe talk about your platform a little bit, some of the issues that you see within our community that we need to address.
Well, one of the biggest issues, and let me be clear, I'm a candidate for House of Representatives District 90. The vote is July 31st. You can begin early voting July the 9th. Some of the solutions that I see, we have to start to tackle things in priorities. It's like eating an elephant. You can't eat it all at one time. You got to eat it one bite at a time because it's a really big job. One of the things we need is some tax relief. There are a lot of things going on and a lot of tax money being wasted. I think that we can balance the coin a little bit, both sides of the equation, by giving some tax relief, but the things that we need taxes for, the expenditures and the entitlement programs that we have, we need to work the entitlement programs so that they are a benefit to us and not just creating a drag on the economy. It's not a popular thing to talk about, but I know people that are on Section 8 or on food stamps that are on food stamps for 10, 12 years, or on Section 8 for 10 or 12 years. What are we doing to help those people come out of that situation and not make that a crutch for them to live on? I believe in helping people that need to be helped. I definitely believe in that. I'm a minister at my church. I have a homeless ministry. I send 2 buses down to the Atlanta Union Mission every Saturday. I pick up about 200 men that are homeless. I make sure they're fed. I make sure they're clothed. I make sure they're showered. If they need job training, skills, resume, whatever it is, I'm trying to take them from a situation where they are, extend God's love to them, and help them on their way to becoming self-sustaining. What's happening now, we have a lot of our constituents that are really kind of feeling pinched. They like to help people out, but 60% of their work pay, their take-home pay from work is going to help people out. That's okay when you see people really trying to help themselves, but it's kind of hard when you're standing in line with your milk and your bread and the person in front of you is using an EBT card with their steak and shrimp and beer. And you're paying for that. You work 6 days out of every month for free to pay for that. I'm starting to sound a little Republican up in here. I don't mean to do that, but we need to find some balance in the equation. On the other hand, on the flip side of that coin, we need to do something with our kids. Man, it is summertime now. The kids are out of school, and there's some people in the community that are just scared to come outside.
So what do you think about that? You say do something with our kids. A lot of the parks, the programs in the schools that we had, arts and things like that in the schools, aren't there anymore. What are we going to do? What do you think we should do? What can we do? A personal crusade
of mine is to get men more involved with their kids. I believe that it takes a father to help raise a child. They have to be in the house. Let me be real clear about this. I believe the young kids, little kids right now, any little kid, anywhere you go, are always asking 2 questions in their life. No matter what it is, it's 2 questions. A boy always asks the same question growing up. A girl always asks the same question growing up. And the father who God put in your life to give the child the identity has to answer those questions. Nobody else can do that. The boy is always asking, do I have what it takes? Everything that you see a little boy do is asking, do I have what it takes? He's running. Look how fast I can run. Look how high I can jump. You wonder why he's climbing on the highest thing in the house and jumping off of it, because he's asking the world, do I have what it takes? A father is there to tell that child that he has what it takes. A boy doesn't know he's a man until a father tells him. Did you know that? He doesn't know. And the worst part about that is when you see somebody 30 or 40 years old that hasn't had that question answered, they're still running around trying to ask the world, do I have what it takes? Only it looks different. It looks like a 40-year-old man, you know, riding around with his music pumped up so loud and his braids to the back trying to look like a teenager. And that question has to be answered. For young girls, same thing. Little girls are always asking, am I lovely? Do I have what it takes? Am I worth waiting for? Am I worth fighting for? And if a father doesn't answer that for that little girl, she'll grow up and still be asking the world, do I have what it takes? Only it looks a little different. It doesn't look like her coming out in her Sunday dress like a little girl and spinning in front of her daddy, you know, waiting on him to tell her she's lovely and worth waiting for and worth fighting for. It looks totally different. Now you see it on Candler Road at the stoplight at 12 o'clock midnight when you're on the way home from some service somewhere, and she's still asking the world, do I have what it takes? Am I lovely? Am I worth waiting for? Am I worth fighting for? So I believe that it is a crusade of mine to get men back involved with their sons and their daughters, and not just your sons and daughters, but every young kid is your son and daughter. So men, speak to these kids. Don't be afraid to talk to kids in your own neighborhood. They have something to offer.
Scott Hughes, candidate for Georgia House Representative District 90. Why should the people vote for you?
I think the people should vote for me because I am a thinking man. I know how to sit down and look at an issue and be on both sides of the issue and see it from both perspectives. I know how to look at a budget. I know how the state budget works. I know how to feed programs that are going to better the community, to leave us better than we were. I know how to get along with people. I know how to cross the aisle. I know how to be cordial. We can disagree without being disagreeable. We don't have to see eye to eye to walk hand in hand. I believe that we can get some things done. Right now, what you see is a bunch of us versus them, and I don't know about you, but that's not working out too well for the community. You can look at the numbers, and they'll tell you that. Very
well. You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Candidate for Georgia State Representative District 90. And tell the people actually where is District 90?
District 90 covers southern DeKalb, kind of from Covington Highway south. It goes as far west as about Columbia. Without getting too demographic, North Henry County, a little bit of western Rockdale, and South DeKalb makes up District 90.
You heard it. Scott Hughes, ladies and gentlemen. B Lounge right here, bringing it to you.
Thank you.
All right, we're back here in the B Lounge, and we have our next candidate. So sitting right here, Ms. Tonya Anderson, State House District 92 candidate, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You okay?
I'm great.
It's okay, beautiful. Well, thank you for coming, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. We're sitting right here. We were talking to Scott Hughes, the other candidate before, and now we have you here on the show. Kind of tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, a little about your background, some of your upbringing, the person. The human being, not the candidate.
Okay, I started very humble beginnings. Family of 5, I'm the youngest, and I moved to Georgia years ago, maybe '94. I got my undergrad at Alabama State.
Okay.
And pursued a master's at Luther Rice University. My background is, as well as pursuing now another degree. Okay. But my background started out as in health insurance.
Okay.
And then I went to property management, all along being in Air Force Reserve and serving my country on that level.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, how long were you?
22 years in the Air Force.
Really?
Yes. Reserve only.
22.
Well,
Reserve, okay.
That's just the grace of God dwelling on me.
Taking care
to make
of
me look young, yes.
Beautiful. Family, kids?
Husband.
Okay.
Just recently married about a year and a half ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I am a former mayor.
Okay.
As well as a former council member.
Mayor of?
Lithonia. The wonderful city of Lithonia.
Yeah, I lived there. I remember that.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Okay.
And served as a council member as well. So I've been in the community for a while, get involved with different nonprofit organizations, one of which is a domestic violence, nonprofit for domestic violence, nonprofit for breast cancer, a graduate of the White House Project, which is a political consulting firm that coaches women to run for office.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So tell us, what is it that you see in our communities that you feel as a person that we should be looking at? Some of the issues, some of your concerns, not just as a candidate, but just as a person, just a normal everyday person.
Normal everyday person. I do see economic development as a mechanism that we can use to bring to our communities, because we bring businesses to our communities, then the people that live in the communities can have jobs to save their homes and have some type of tax relief, so that we are not constantly going through a cycle of losing out on so many fronts. People lose their homes, people lose their jobs, and when that cycle continues, we just have a devastated society. People just can't cope on levels when they just cannot provide for their families or don't have where to live, any place to live.
Right.
And sometimes people just cannot fathom, living that way.
Right. So going to your platform a little bit, couple of your major concerns, some of your major issues that you want to see some things to change, or that you want to address, and how do you pretty much plan on how getting that accomplished?
There was actually economic development was one of the platform items, as well as education.
Okay.
And we take care of, or at least try to address, the economic development issue. We can bring resources to the community for our senior citizens, for our teens and youth, for public safety, for those programs and organizations that make our community work. without that, we will have a hopeless society. And that is not the type of society that we want to dwell around, or be neighbors or next to someone who, is struggling and having a hard time and just can't, cope with where they are.
Right.
So bringing the resources to our community is one of the main things that I will fight to do. We'll fight to bring those resources because we have a community that can be vibrant, and that can have the quality of life that other communities have.
Yeah. And speaking of vibrant, we're going to take a break because they got me sweating in these lights. So we're going to be back with more of the B Lounge right here with Tonya Anderson bringing it to you. All right, welcome back here to the B Lounge. And I'm sitting here with candidate for State House District 92, Tonya Anderson.
Yes.
And we were talking about some of your goals for your candidacy, up and coming the current candidates that you're running for. But kind of give us some short-term goals, some things that you want to try to, get in when you get in office, try to accomplish. Now, I know, being a politician, you say you want to do certain things, but when you get in office, things can be totally different. So, if there's some things that you can change right away, give us a couple.
Well, one of the main things that is my objective is that when I get there, to fight for the resources, because that is the main job, at the Capitol, to fight for the resources to come to your community. Once you get the resources there, it enhances the quality of life for the citizens in different areas. It could be for senior citizens, it could be for housing, it could be for veterans. But the goal is to get the resources. And because I've built relationships over the years on local levels, state level, federal levels, I do believe that the collaboration is already there, and that I'm ready to hit the ground running and have the conversations that I need to have with those people, and get the resources to my community.
So resources, why is it hard for us to get resources in the community? Or is it hard?
I'm not sure why it's hard, but I plan to make it as easy as possible for the citizens of District 92.
Right. And where is District 92?
District 92 is kind of funny. All the districts are really probably been purposefully
I noticed that
structured the way they have been.
Okay.
But it's a portion of Lithonia, and it goes all the way to Rockdale County.
Okay, so like on the southeastern part.
Right. Panola, coming down Covington Highway, Old Covington Highway, Lake Rockaway.
There's some rich black folks out there.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I was just checking. I used to live over there, but I ain't rich. But I mean, I wasn't that.
Of course you are rich.
Well,
of course you're rich.
I got wealth.
It's a mentality. Okay, yeah.
So, but I mean, I was in the area, Salem, in the area, was it Browns Ridge, Browns Mill, over the area. So I kind of know the area, but there's some folks got some money over there.
Yeah, you're trying to figure out where they work.
Yeah, well, I mean, so these are your constituents. These are the people that you support. Okay, so what do you think about Hope Scholarship? Some of the requirements, and maybe what do some of your constituents think about that, if you have spoken about that?
I think that the Hope Scholarship has tried to eliminate a lot of competition for our youth and teens, and I think that it should be on a fair playing field. Not that a whole lot around us has been that way, but that is one of the things that I will focus on, because I have a heart for the teens and for the youth, and to see them prosper is one of the things that I have a passion for, because they are me, and I am them.
All right, y'all heard that? Y'all like that? Clip of that. Yeah. So tell us, why should people vote for you?
One, because I am going to lead this district toward opportunities that bring prosperity and quality of life to the district. Another reason is because I already have the experience. I'm ready to hit the ground running, and fight for the people in that district. Bring the resources, because their concerns are my concerns. Okay. And when you can identify with people, it makes it a lot easier to work on a level that will bring prosperity. Right.
So where do you go from there? You become, say you win, do you have other aspirations to go further in politics? Or?
Okay. Okay, well, the real story?
Yeah, we want to know the real story.
I never aspired to be in politics. Honestly, I got involved as a council member because my city was in trouble.
Okay.
I grew up, my parents taking me, being community leaders, taking me to NAACP meetings, SCLC meetings, getting involved in the community, doing things in the church, and just being active. And so when I saw that my city was in trouble, I said, okay, I can't complain unless I'm willing to work and make a difference.
Right.
Once I got involved, I was actually focusing on my Air Force career, getting my master's to go to another level. Right. And graduated in May. I was still on the council, and in November I was a mayor, and I'm thinking, God, how did I get here? Once I did that, I said, okay, I'm going home. You know, I'm not going to do this thing anymore. I'm just going to be a nice little housewife, go to church, teach Sunday school, and come home. And a few days before the deadline, I just had an unction to continue to serve people, because I love people and I want to serve people. And everybody does not have the courage, because it takes courage to be a leader. Right. And not only does it take courage, but sometimes you have to make the hard decisions that some people just are not willing to make. So it takes courage to do that. And so I am. Yes,
and here
I'm
you
here
are.
to serve.
Here you are. So I think that's what people need to know, need to hear, the real you. Like I say, people are afraid of a lot of politicians, so it's good to hear something refreshing, something real. You know, you actually went through something to get to where you are.
Absolutely.
That's very important. So you heard it right here in the B Lounge. Candidate for State House District 92, Tonya Anderson. We thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing more and great things from you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. Bring it to you.
Little something about what I learned while I was in jail, you know what I'm saying? When I was in jail, you know, they took my clothes and they gave me some potato sack jumpsuit to put on the top, the potato sack bottom, and they gave me some flip-flops that were tore up and broke in the middle, so it looked like when I walked into the pod, I had cerebral palsy, you know, because I was trying to keep the flip-flops on. But I'm looking at it, they didn't give me no socks, so I'm looking at my feet and saying, man, my feet is ugly as hell. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to deal with this, you know what I'm saying, going in. But when I walked in, I felt better, because black men's feet are so messed up in jail. I mean, I saw a dude, his toenail grew into one. I said, this man is a pterodactyl. We got a bird in jail right here. So I made up in my mind to go in there and when I get out, to get my feet done. You know, and I suggest all the men, go get your feet done. It ain't no gay thing. It's about taking care of your feet. You stand on them all day and you ain't really doing nothing with them. So I wanted to go get my feet done, and when I got out, I didn't go get my feet done. I wouldn't even think about it. I was just so glad to get out. But when my girl came in the room one day and said, hey, babe, I want, ooh, I said, what? She said, oh, you got them. I said, them? What do you mean them? These my feet. I ain't asked you to wear them to the club. You know what I'm saying? So I went to get my feet done, and I stood outside the nail shop for about an hour, you know, and it about, you know, 10 Chinese ladies and then one Chinese man in there. They pushed him out there to see what I was doing, because they thought I was finna rob the place.
Welcome back here to the B Lounge. Your host and founder, William Bo Martin, and we're still sitting here talking with some more people that are running for House of Representatives in different districts in the state of Georgia. I'm also joined by one of my co-hosts for At the End of the Day, Nicole English. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. I'm joined by Ms. Pamela Stephenson.
That's correct.
And Howard Mosby.
That is correct.
Welcome to the B Lounge.
Thank you
for coming. First of all, let's start with you, ladies first, okay? Tell the people what district that you're running for, and a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, I am currently a representative in House District 92, but through reapportionment, that district has changed, and it is now House District 90. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I've been in Atlanta for a long time. I grew up with brothers. I decided from the east side of Detroit all the way to University of Michigan that I knew what I wanted to do, and that was to always give back to the people that are me and my family. I also knew, and my saying is every day, that when I wake up in the morning, I thank God that I'm free. And when I go to bed every night, I thank God that I'm free. And that's the message that I give to young people and to people that want to learn how to engage in just life.
Okay, all right, sounds good. All right, Mr. Mosby, tell us a little bit about yourself and the district that you currently are in the district that you are actually holding office now, right?
Yes, okay. I'm elected to House District 90. That number is also changing to 83.
Okay.
And that district runs from Ellenwood area, from the Henry County line, going through Gresham Park, all the way through downtown Decatur to North Druid Hills, sitting in between Candler Roads and 2nd Avenue. So you can think about that. That's kind of how wide the district is and how long it is. So I've been elected now. This is my going into my 6th term. Okay. I am currently unopposed, but I chair currently the DeKalb House delegation, what that means is that we have anybody that's elected that represents any part of DeKalb County, all or any part, we come together as a delegation. And those members elected me. Currently, right now, we have 19. After reapportionment, that number goes down to around 16. So I will be running for chairman of the delegation when we get back in the legislature in January.
Very well. So a little bit about yourself. What about your background? Where are you from?
I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up here in Atlanta.
Atlanta in the house. I'm sorry.
ATL. Grew up in East Atlanta.
Okay.
Went to East Atlanta High School.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't exist right now, but went to East Atlanta High School. Went to Georgia State University. Majored in finance. I'm a certified public accountant now. My father was the 2nd African American to serve on the DeKalb County Commission. My sister currently serves on Atlanta City Council, and I have an older brother that. Now I know it's not about me, but this is kind of about me.
Yes, about
my that's right. Older brother serves on City Council in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Okay.
As vice mayor. So strong political background, strong family values, community values, making sure that it's about giving back. It's about that dash in between the time you were born and the time you die.
Right.
And so want to be able to make a difference while I'm here.
And since you said that, why, politicians? Why politics? Why are people so afraid of politics? Normal, everyday people are afraid of politicians. They feel like you guys got something to hide or to bring in, to bring over their eyes, or to shut them down, or to trick them, or to fool them, or to lie to them. What makes you different, being a politician?
I can take it first. Well, first of all, we may not be normal, but we're everyday people.
All right.
So when you have everyday people that are concerned about the quality of life within our community, those types of skills transfer to wherever we go. So I consider myself having a calling for public service. I think people are afraid of what they believe politicians are that really don't exist in their communities and don't really respond to the needs of the community. If not, they would already know them. So that is the fear, because without the people that make up the budgets and the public policy and the laws within our communities, we would never have anyone representing us. So it is the people who we elect, and the first rule is to make sure that the people we elect believe that they are the same as the community.
Very well.
And I agree wholeheartedly with that. The other thing that people need, I think people, number one, are afraid of things that they don't know. And the political process can be very intimidating. If you don't know what a congressperson does versus a state representative versus a county commissioner versus a city council person, then you get kind of confused about who should I approach, why should I care? Because all of these people sit out here and I don't know none of them, and I don't know what they do. Our community specifically runs away from that process, primarily because I'm trying to not be controversial here, but we try to.
You can say it.
You want me to go ahead and say it?
Because
I'm going to go ahead and say it.
I mean,
Yeah,
just please.
We watch too much TV.
Okay.
And so we get our messages from that boob tube, and that message generally is slanted in a direction that drives our community in a certain direction. So we think we know, and we really don't know. And so we don't go out and try to learn the information. It is full contact. This game of politics, it's strictly about the dividing of resources throughout the community. And our community have to be engaged in this process at every level in order to ensure that our community not only is well represented, but that we get the things that we need for our community to improve and enhance the quality of life of all of our citizens.
All right, very well. All right, we'll be right back with the B Lane, right in the B Lounge, with Howard Mosby and Pamela Stephenson, correct? And also our co-host at the end of the day, Nicole English. Right back with more questions, bringing it to you. Welcome back here to the B Lounge, right here at Spivey's Creations, SC 1775. We're sitting here talking with Pamela Stephenson and Howard Mosby, excuse me. And we were kind of talking about some of the things that you see that need to be done in the community, your thoughts on them. And now we kind of want to go, kind of switch gears, kind of talk about your platform.
But I have a question before that, because Mr. Mosby said that our community, I assume you're meaning the black community, has a problem whereas we watch TV too much. And that kind of, I guess, makes us a little bit ignorant to the political process. I'm assuming that's what you're saying.
Correct.
What are you doing then if you see that to educate our community more about the political process?
We run a monthly town hall meeting where we bring actually government to the people. But, you know, when you don't know that you don't know, it's hard to get people to say you need to get this information. And we have a meeting of about 200 people that meet on the first Saturday of the month, but it's the same 200 people. It's not a robust, growing crowd. As we go out in the community and we meet people, we go through our normal the emails, the internet, even in the campaigning process, knocking on doors. As you're delivering information to people, it's hard to get them to accept the information that you're delivering to them that's contrary to what they are getting in these other media outlets. Let me just say it that way. I find it very difficult to try to change some of the images and some of the messages that they are receiving so that they can be energized to act differently than what they're currently acting at the time.
What do you see positive in our community when it comes to the political process?
Oh, the fact that we do have people that want to put their name in the hat, they want to run. There are a number of our constituents that are actively engaged, that they actively know the process. It is, in DeKalb County, for instance, there are 700,000 citizens. 350,000 of those citizens are African American. We have engaged in the process probably less than 1,000. That doesn't make any sense. Now, if you want to have a program where you highlight their kids on the school stage, then you'll bring a zillion folk out. But when you want to talk about what's going on with this transportation deal, paying this extra penny for transportation, what's going on with Hope Scholarship, what's going on with putting more of our folk in jail than anybody else. What is it, that we are born predisposed to commit crime? How is it that we're filling up the prison system? If we want to have a conference today on that, we'll have the same 200 people in the audience. But this thing is gigantic. We should be busting out of the seams trying to get this information from people who actually are down there pushing the button. And so you tell people, we need you. We need you to come out. We need you to participate and get involved. And they say, yeah, right, I need to get my nails done at that time. I need to get my hair done at that time. Y'all ain't talking about nothing that's going to help me at that time. And so we continue to fight through that. It can be discouraging, but that's where we are right now. And I don't have a problem with trying to help move the needle on that.
When you say 1,000 of the 350,000, is it just our community that isn't showing up? Because when you really look at the so-called stats, nobody really votes, period. It's just not a black thing. I mean, you have certain affluent white communities that go out, definitely that, but then you have Cascade that goes out. So, and I'm just picking areas that come to mind right quick. So I just feel a little bit, as a black person, discouraged sometimes. Not that I don't want to hear the truth. Right. Not that. I'm always about the truth. But I'm wondering what we can pick out of it from our community that's positive to let people know. If I'm wondering, are we approaching that segment that doesn't come out as if they are going to get their nails done? You know, it's almost like when you approach me, you already got in your mind, sister just want to get her nails. You know, and I'm just thinking that politicians, if they are so concerned with our community, which, you know, that's what they say, why aren't they coming up with a different approach? You may have to try something new instead of just continuing with that same argument and rhetoric, in my opinion, that the black community is just not interested. We're just interested in the boob tube. We want to get our nails done. And it just seems so stereotyping to me. And that's, you know what I mean? Even me hearing it, having a college degree, having somewhat of a decent income, who goes out and vote. And I'm wondering what the people are thinking, hearing that about themselves.
May I?
Yeah, definitely.
A part of it is that the people are tired of the rhetoric, and we should be too. See, our problem is that we have failed to meet people where their life is. You know, we're talking about things about people that we need to change the method in which we're communicating. If you think a person is getting a haircut as opposed to getting their nails done, then you go to the barber shop and you spread and communicate. You can educate people without people thinking you're educating it. The other is almost called, why do I need to listen to this stuff? And we have a duty and responsibility to take young people down to their home called the Capitol so that they can learn what they should be doing. And you have to do it on all facets, because this is a war on families. And if we think that we're going to just say, you know what, you need to get out and vote. No, you have to make it relevant to their lives. When a person puts in 11 hours of work and you're knocking on their door and say, vote for me, and by the way, do you vote? Because make no mistake, our community is enlarged with super voters. So we cannot sit down and say that we don't vote. The problem is we're not engaged in the public policy issues of what we're voting for, and we don't hold the people accountable that we send to the Capitol to be our conscience. But we have to meet people where their lives are.
And that was my point. There seems to be a disconnect sometimes. Even when I talk to a lot of brothers who seem to be filling the jails everywhere. In Georgia, I know that with a felony, if you're off paper, you can vote. And a lot of brothers don't even know that. And I'm like, why don't they know this? And when they hear it, they're almost like, really? Oh my God, I can vote? And I think that's a huge voting block that's really being ignored. And I'm thinking to myself, if these brothers came together with their own voting block, they would be powerful, and they don't even know it.
Oh, absolutely. But that's another issue of meeting people where they are. It starts in the 3rd grade. So some of these brothers you're talking about are 17 and 18 years old, that's being tried as adults, take off their orange jumpsuits, they're on probation. That's a foot in the jail and a foot out. They don't have the same due process issues. But we have to meet them where they are. I'm on Church Street with their probation officers, talking to them, showing them where to get jobs. It's very difficult when you start that revolving door for what we tell them to be relevant. We have to show them, we have to include them in what we're doing so that they could see where the people that really care are out there making laws for them. And I don't care how you do it, you understand their communication skills and where they are, and go to wherever the message needs to be taken, but not in the jail.
Oh,
it's our duty. I mean, not to take the message. I mean, our duty is to decrease the numbers that are in the jail.
And I know it's not easy. I'm not saying this is, you know, oh, just do it, but it feels like to me there just needs to be.
I run like, because I always say I'm positively Pam. It is inexcusable for us to live and think we can't change.
Right.
How do we tell a generation that we're not going to transfer culture and strength and courage back to them?
Right.
Because we are, and I don't get
somebody
tired.
did it for us.
And this and these so-called people that's crusading. See, it's not a something that's in my mind. It's what I do every single day, and that's what we have to live by. It's called the transference of values and culture,
Exactly.
and that's our duty,
Exactly.
unashamedly so.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. So when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We come back and we're going to tell the people why you know, why vote for you, and give us a little bit what you think about the Hope Scholarship. Okay? So more of the B Lounge right here with Pamela Stephenson, Howard Mosby, and co-host at the end of the day, Nicole English. Bring it to you. Welcome back into the B Lounge, and we're sitting here talking with Pamela Stephenson and Howard Mosby. And before we went to the break, we wanted to get your thoughts on why you? Why should we, or anyone, your constituents, vote you into office?
All right, I'll go first. Number one, first of all, don't elect me on a popularity contest. Elect me on the ability to be able to change the quality of the lives of the citizens that I have to serve, or anyone will have to serve in that particular district. It is imperative that the person that you all will select, you know what I'm saying, select me, but you all will select, it's about the character of the individual that's standing before you asking for your support, your vote. If you cannot give this person $2 to support their campaign, don't vote for them. This is full contact sport. I'm asking you to support me because I do have a record. I have a record that you can check out, that you can see to determine what kind of policymaker I will be. Now, anybody running against me need to be able to stand up and say the same thing. What is it that you stand for, and prove that is what you mean. I have a record that says I'm about the community. I'm about making sure that the quality of life of all of our citizens, all boats rise, not just mine.
All right. Very well. Okay.
Thank you. I say all the time that I'm not asking people to vote for me. I'm asking people to support the community in which we live in. I too have a voting record. It takes more than intellect and people saying I'm going to do these things. It takes courage to understand what it is that our community even wants. My voting record is real clear on what I've done, but guess what? Even before I had a voting record, I was a member of the community. I'm not just a lawyer. I'm a person who likes what we do. It is not work for me to stay in judiciary as the only woman of color that's making laws. It is most important for me to understand that it's not about me, but it's about the people that sent me there to never disturb the trust that they've had in me. People during election years will tell you I plan to do all these grandiose things. I have spent time working across the aisle. And when people say working across the aisle, they just mean full combat sports. And I'm never afraid of it. I tell everyone, who would concede power to our community without us standing up for our community? And if people don't understand that, and if you have any type of fear, you cannot meet public policy with politics at that Golden Dome. And in this political season, it's too much to lose. Do not take a chance on something that you're speculating on. Look at a voting record, and then the community should make an informed, intelligent decision about it.
Excellent. Beautiful. Beautiful. You want to?
I just have one question before we, that I think people might be, the average person might be interested in. iPod or CD player?
Yeah,
I just want to see what was on your CD player. What were you listening to? Just kind of get down to this.
What's on mine?
The person you are, you know.
Well, I'm from Detroit, so I listen to a lot of different things.
Okay.
I may go from NDRE.
Okay.
I may go to Michael Jackson. I still like Ohio players. So it depends on the mood that I'm in. I'm not really a jazz person because I like to hear people sing and play. But if need be, in a dentist's office, I'll listen to that too. But that's pretty much what I like.
Well, in my car,
Yes,
coming over here,
You got it.
you got everything.
Houdini, One Love,
Oh, yeah.
Cameo.
Okay.
I like them too.
Yeah, beautiful. Back to the Hope Scholarship. You know, what are your views? What are your thoughts about that before we get you out of here? No, we start with you.
Okay. My thoughts, you know, the Hope Scholarship was envisioned to serve a financial need. It has been changed to serve those that do not require the financial need.
Right.
So the rhetoric that we hear that the Hope Scholarship is for everyone for B average, well, I was there and opposed even the method in which they determine what a B average is. So to me, if we're really serious about education in this state, it would be for the least of these. That is what government is for. And if we're doing that, I believe the Hope Scholarship should be a financial need program. They can keep the Miller Scholars, but it's long, and it should go more than 1 or 2 years.
Right.
Because when our community goes to that first year and then you're kicked out, you can't apply, something's philosophically wrong with the wanting education but not giving students the opportunity to go through that first year.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Mosby.
Well, you know, you can't talk about the Hope Scholarship without talking about the lottery.
Okay.
And for our community who, you know, they had an article in the, I think it was the New York Times, saying that in Georgia we are the largest suckers in how much money we spend on the lottery versus what we get back from the lottery. Our community is disproportionately represented in the Hope Scholarship process. We spend a lot of money in the scholarship and in creating the lottery funds for that. So that's really disturbing to me. Then on top of that, you change the requirements for what it takes to actually get the scholarship. That's whack,
Right.
as the community would say.
Right.
So I think that it should go back to what the Hope Scholarship really was designed for, and that was to help those that are in need. The other thing about it, and there are many facets of the Hope Scholarship, the pre-K, but the technical colleges piece, I think that we don't take enough advantage of that piece.
Right.
Everybody's not going to college, and one of the messages that we need to send to our community is that there are many avenues to the American dream, and they all don't go through Ivy League schools.
Right.
And so we need to kind of push that message out so that our kids can actually stay in school. We have one of the highest dropout rates because our kids see that there ain't no future in me in this, because when I get out of here, what am I going to do? I'm not going to go to college. I don't qualify for Hope Scholarship, so what am I going to do? I might as well get out right now. So let's start talking about those things that actually will help our community.
May I say one thing that ties into that? Until we recognize this cycle of poverty within our community and the relationship between at-will work state, an educational system that's defunct, a healthcare system that no one wants to pay for, we can't envision the Hope Scholarship for the least of these, because we can't envision how we can even stop children from having to go to school without breakfast.
Right.
So we have to envision philosophically what it means to really be free and have the American dream. You reminded me when you said the American dream, because it's all tied into this cycle of poverty that no one has the political or intellectual will to stop it. And when we start telling the truth about the status of people that are making policy decisions, then our reaction can be according.
And that's what we want to do. We want to bring you the truth right here on the B Lounge. We have Pamela Stephenson, Brother Howard Mosby. They're running for office here in the state of Georgia. We thank you both for coming. Thank my co-host Nicole English, and stay tuned for more. Bringing it to you.
came out. He said, "May I help you?" I said, "I'm gonna get my feet done." He said, "Come on in. We got somebody special just for you." I said, "Man, I can't go in there with all of them in there. I mean, they see my feet, take a picture, put on Facebook. I'm gonna have to kill everybody in there,
right,
you know."
Right.
So they got me in there, and when they set me up, they put my feet up there, put it in the little bubbling water, probably some Dawn dishwashing detergent or something, but you know what I'm saying, it was hot, you know what I'm saying. I thought she trying to boil my feet to death, and we sit up there in a recliner, man, and they got this master button, and it's a back massage. So while you getting your feet done, you getting your back massage and everything. And they brought that lady out there, and I don't care what language it is, you know when somebody talking to you. Right? When she talked about me, she pulled my feet out, she said, "Come, Page." I said, "Wait a minute, what you mean, them?" My feet don't, I know what them mean in Chinese. Right. So she put my feet in the water again, and when she massaged my leg, man, I almost fell in love with this lady. I was like, "Oh, Ching Ling, my God, I love you. I just want to marry," because she was massaging my feet, you know what I'm saying? She scraped the little white stuff off so much it looked like potato chips on the floor. And I said, "Little boy, don't eat that. That's not a potato chip," because he would get ptomaine parties, you know. So when she got through and massaged my feet with the lotion and everything, she took them out, man, and my feet looked brand new. Look like she had just taken them out the Nike paper, you know what I'm saying? But the only problem I had, because she scraped my feet off, I used to wear 10, but now I wear 8.5. So the moral of the story is, take care of your feet.
Welcome back here to the B Lounge. We're right here in SC 1775 where the B Lane Studios are housed. And we have the pleasure, we just keep moving along here. We have the pleasure of having Jeff Kazanow and Michael Johnson.
Thank you.
Two gentlemen that are running for Congress 6th District.
6th District.
And 5th District.
Correct.
Welcome aboard. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeff, kind of your background, where you're from.
Okay. Born and raised in the Midwest.
Okay.
Graduated twice from Michigan State University. I have a BA and an MBA in business. Came down here 23 years ago with my wife.
Okay.
We've lived in Cobb County for all of that 23 years, 21 years in Marietta. And have 2 kids, 2 wonderful kids. Sadly, my wife passed away after 35 years of marriage 2 years ago.
Okay.
But she's in a good place now.
Right.
So we're all happy, sort of.
Okay, I got you. Okay, Mike, Atlanta.
Born and raised right here in Atlanta.
Right.
And
Atlanta in the building again.
That's right. Grew up right off of Cascade Road in the Cascade area. Went to Westwood High School in South Fulton County and graduated from Morehouse College in 1990. I came out of Morehouse with a banking and finance degree and decided to go to law school. Went to Syracuse University College of Law. And then I came back home to Atlanta and started practicing.
Okay.
I got my first job working on the Court of Appeals with Judge Clarence Cooper. I've served as a prosecutor and most recently as a judge on the Fulton County Superior Court bench. I've been married for going on 13 years this June.
Someone we know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
To my wife, Allison Holmes Johnson. Yes. I'm a blessed man.
Right.
We have 2 beautiful kids, my son Michael, who is 11, and our daughter Catherine, who is 8.
Very well,
Absolutely.
very well. So tell us, why politics? You know, why politics?
Well, as I said, I've been a public servant for quite some time now. I absolutely enjoy serving the public sector, and I think at the end of the day, that has to be at your core. You have to enjoy working with people. You have to enjoy people. I've had the opportunity to work as a prosecutor and as a judge on the Fulton Superior Court bench, and let me tell you, as a judge, you really have the opportunity to see what happens to hard-working people when they lose their jobs, when they don't have an opportunity to get an education. Because if you're familiar with our justice system at all, one of the things that you recognize is that if you don't have an education, you are much more likely to be incarcerated because you have so few opportunities. In fact, you know, out of all of the many big cases that I had to try, there was one case in particular which never received any public notoriety that really got my attention and started me on the path to running for Congress. And it was a case where a young man was in my courtroom, true case, with his 2 children. He was a young man who lost his job As a result, he lost his home and he lost his family. His children were evicted, and so they then had no school to go to. And he was literally crying and asking me to help him, and I was powerless to do anything about it. And I went home that day, and one of the things that I said to my wife was, this was the kind of person that I really want to help. But I couldn't do that as a judge, and I made the decision that I wanted to do more, that I could do more. And so after great contemplation and reflection, I made the decision to give up my job, a career as a judge, and to run for this office.
All right, very well, very well. Jeff, your reason, why politics?
Well, politics was not actually a natural decision for me.
Okay.
I've been in business for 30+ years. I consult to businesses across the country in retail and manufacturing, in logistics and supply chain, helping companies get their product to market and the goods to manufacturing, finding the best ways, the most efficient ways to do that. And I've watched the government over the last 30 years start to move away from the greatness that we had and start to disinvest in the economy, disinvest in our infrastructure, disinvest in education, and then the gridlock that we've had for the past several years, I just said I can't take this anymore without standing up and trying to do something about it. So this year I finally made the choice. I've got the time, I've got the flexibility now that I'm going to try. I'm going to try and make a change. We need to bring some rationality to Congress. We need to bring some civility to Congress, some dialogue to Congress. And I'm a person that's willing to do that and willing to work to get to yes.
Yeah. So why you? Why should people vote you to Congress?
Starting with the business background.
Okay.
I understand the economics of business. I understand what drives business. I understand how to make businesses grow. And shrinking to growth is not something that works. To grow, you need to invest. You need to invest in our economy. You need to invest in business. You need to invest in energy. We can't keep cutting taxes and cutting the budget and expecting this country to turn around and build itself for the 21st century. We need to make the revenues match the expenses. We need to do it in a rational way, and we need to start putting money back into this. Our parents invested, our grandparents invested, and we as a generation have not. We as a generation have sat back and milked it, and we put the money into our pockets, and to me that smacks of greed.
Right.
We need to change that.
Okay.
We need to change that starting with the Congress and starting with the investments that Congress can make.
Okay, very well. So why you, Michael?
Well, you know, one of the things that my wife and I have talked about is that, you know, we are in a situation that is not unique to a lot of folks. We are not only raising our own children, but we're working to provide for our retirement, and we both have parents. My folks are now in their 70s. My mother-in-law is also approaching that age. And one of the things that we have to really be concerned about is Social Security, Medicare for our parents, and then we have to worry about it for ourselves. How many times have you heard people say, people who are perhaps our age in their 40s say, well, you know, Social Security and Medicare, it won't be there anyway. No. That's really a referendum on the members of Congress. That's really a no vote, a vote of no confidence for our members of Congress, because guess what? I've been paying into Social Security for the last 20 years. And so you would hope that the members of Congress would have been investing it wisely, investing it properly so that it would be there. And one of the things that I recognize is that we've been doing the same things over and over again, but expecting, for some reason, different results. Right. And, you know, Albert Einstein has described insanity as doing the same thing over and over, but expecting a different results. We can't continue to send the same people back to Congress year after year, decade after decade, and expect different results. We've been getting the same poor results, and I absolutely believe that we need new energy, we need new blood, we need a different perspective. And that, along with, I believe, the unique skill set that I bring as a lawyer, as one who's practiced law for 20 years, as one who has been a judge for the last 7 years. And so I believe that given my energy, and the perspective that I will bring and the unique skills that I will bring to the skill set, I'll work hard for the community and I'll do a great job for them.
So when you say that, do you think there should be term limits?
I would not be opposed to that, because let me tell you what happens. Right now, Congress has one of the worst approval ratings that it's ever had. And all too often you hear those members of Congress that have been there for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, what they will tell you is, I've got seniority, I've got experience, I know how to work in Washington. But ask yourselves this question, are you happy with what you have in Washington? And if you think about it, the folks that have the 20 years, the 30 years, the 40 years, they are the ones who actually run Washington. And so I absolutely believe that regular turnover will bring new energy, will bring new ideas, a new perspective, a perspective that we need in Congress and one that we don't have. They won't approach trying to resolve many of these issues from a pessimistic standpoint. They come without the baggage per se, because when you've had people there for 20 years, regardless of the side of the aisle that you're on, and I'm a Democrat, by the way, a lifelong Democrat, but regardless of the side of the aisle that you're on, when you've had people there for 20 years, you know how this person's going to operate. That person knows how you're going to operate. And so you approach it from a pessimistic standpoint. Well, we're not going to get anything done because I know this person's not going to budge. I approach it from a realistic perspective, but from a perspective that's optimistic. Because I absolutely believe that our best days lie ahead of us, but we've got to make a certain amount of changes so that we can start concentrating on the future and moving our country in the right direction.
Absolutely.
What do you think about term limits?
Absolutely in favor of it, as well as serious campaign finance reform. The government is bought and sold. There's too much influence of big money, and the people in Washington, from the day they get there, start raising funds for the next election. And the longer you've been there, the more deeply you are in debt to the campaign finance machine.
Right.
Term limits will turn people over after 6, 12 years, depending upon what we ultimately come up with. It'll keep getting fresh blood into Washington. It'll prevent clicks from happening. It will hopefully get us dialogue.
Right.
And we need dialogue to get back to the areas, to Congress that addresses problems, that solves problems, that talks to each other, that works on behalf of the 99% of the people who are really looking to Congress to manage and run this country for the benefit of the 99% of the country.
Very well. You hear it right here, two great men running for Congress. We'll be right back more on the B Lounge, bringing it to you. Lounge. I'm your host and founder, William Bo Martin, sitting with my co-host from at the end of the day, Nicole English, and we have District 6 and District 5 for Congress, Jeff Kazanow and Michael Johnson. Correct. Very well. Nicole.
Tell us about your district, District 6. What does that encompass? What area is that?
It was just reapportioned.
Okay.
So District 6 now encompasses East Cobb, the eastern part of Marietta, or not incorporated Marietta. It covers North Fulton County, Roswell, Sandy Springs, Dunwoody, down into Buckhead a little bit. And then it covers the very western part of DeKalb County.
So what are your goals for that district? Like when you first get in office, what are you working on first? What are you looking at that needs to be attacked first and foremost?
Well, it's going to sound very cliche, but it's jobs.
Okay.
Except it's really jobs. Not let's end women's reproductive rights. It's no, let's work on jobs. We shouldn't have 2 jobs bills and 15 or 20 of meaningless stuff that is not going to pass. Let's work on stuff that we can pass. Let's work on stuff that will help the country, that will help the economy. I support President Barack Obama. I am a Democrat.
So I know you have a background in business. And I'm sure you're going to use that to help formulate those jobs. So what can you tell us anything how you're going to go about doing that?
Well, there's several things we need to work on. First of all, and the shovel-ready projects all across the country. Our roads are crumbling, our bridges are crumbling. That infrastructure is in serious need of repair. We haven't invested in it in 10 to 20 years. We need to start putting money on that. That puts people to work. And contrary to the trickle-down theory that if you give the people at the top enough, the people at the bottom will get something. Right. If you give the people at the bottom work, they will spend. And when they spend, it creates demand. And when business sees demand, business invests, and the cycle repeats. Right. Business doesn't invest just because you get a tax break. Business invests because they have demand to meet. Right. So we have to put people to work. So we have infrastructure projects with the roads. We have infrastructure projects with the airports and ports. We have teachers that had firemen and police that need to go back to work because as we've been cutting budgets, we've been cutting local budgets, pushing the pain back down to them. We need to put them to work. So yes, and I understand this is going to be some deficit. But when a business grows, it borrows. It goes to the capital market and you get some money. It's short term. And when the economy turns around, you look back to what Clinton did, he paid off all of the debts. And when George Bush came into office, we had a country that was almost deficit free. When he left the country, or left the job, that was not the situation.
And tell us about your district, District 5.
Sure. Well, obviously, as was stated, there's been a lot of redistricting, but District 5 goes into part of Buckhead, and then it extends out into DeKalb County and now goes as far as Columbia Drive. It extends down into Clayton County, Ellenwood, and Morrow, and then it comes back up into Fulton County where you have Camp Creek, which is sort of the dividing line, and it goes out to Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and then comes back up. So quite a few. I think it's about approximately 700,000 residents. Pretty large. Right. Pretty large.
What's your main focus once you get into office? What are you looking at first and foremost?
Well, jobs. I mean, everybody understands that we've got to put people back to work, and I absolutely agree. Working on the infrastructure is one way that we can put people back to work, and we can put people back to work quickly, and it makes sense because, as was stated, our infrastructure has been neglected for decades. It's in serious need of repair, and once you put people back to work, you're going to create jobs, create the tax bases that we need, and so the government will actually get a lot of money back. But beyond that, what I want to do is really concentrate on the 5th District in a way that, quite frankly, it hasn't been concentrated on in years. I want to work on securing federal funds and bringing those funds back to the 5th Congressional District. And let me just give you an example. In 2008, 2009, 2010, in the 5th Congressional District, our representative was 4th out of 5 Democrats in the state of Georgia. 4th out of 5 in the state of Georgia in terms of securing federal funds. And when you're talking about our current representative, and we discussed this, who's been in office for 25 years, a quarter of a century, that shouldn't happen. But when you hear the figures, it's pretty staggering. You've got Congressman Bishop down in South Georgia who secured approximately $200 million in federal funds versus $56 million secured for the 5th Congressional District. That simply should not happen. But let me tell you what happens when we don't get those federal dollars. We then have to turn around and tax ourselves to provide the services that we want. Right. As a result, in the 5th Congressional District, we have the largest water rates, the highest water rates in the country. Not just in the state of Georgia, not just in the southeastern United States, but in the country. We have a transportation system that simply hasn't thrived because, again, part of the reason is we have not received the federal dollars necessary to do the things that we wanted to do for MARTA. So, as a result, even though MARTA started out at the same place as, let's say, the public transportation system in San Francisco and the public transportation system in Washington, D.C., we've only realized half of our dream, whereas those public transportation systems have really, they've really flourished. And the reason for this, and I heard Representatives from MARTA say this, is because those systems have received $2 to $3 billion each more in federal funds than what we have received for our public transportation system. And let me tell you what they said, because their representatives worked through all the politics, worked through the political minutia, and got the funds.
That was my question. Why hadn't this happened?
And you've got to have someone who has the energy to go the distance. And with all due respect to our current representative, and I certainly am aware of his civil rights background, and I respect that, but we can do better. And let me just tell you, I do respect who he is. I went and spoke with him before I made the decision to give up my career as a judge and to run for this office. He made it clear to me at that time that there was no intent to ever retire. And he has since stated publicly that he is going to be here for as long as people will vote for him. And I don't believe that we can wait to make the changes that we need to make. As I stated earlier, we can continue to do the same things over and over. We can continue to send the same people back to Congress over and over, and we will continue to get the same results. We absolutely need someone with the energy to go the distance. We need a new perspective, a new vision for our future, and that's something that we simply have not had, a vision and a roadmap for our future.
Now, I have a question, because both of you are running in two different districts. Say you two win.
Sure.
How does that come to play? How do you work together?
Well, very simply, you get up and you go and you say, how can we work together? Because our districts are border districts, and guess what? What impacts your district impacts our district, the 5th Congressional District. How are we going to work together for the benefit of both of our districts and for the benefit of the state of Georgia?
Yes.
That's how you do it. It's really not very difficult, but you have to be willing to work together. You know, and one of the things that I've recognized is that in Congress, both parties stand further apart than ever before. And, you know, my father taught me a long time ago that in order to get a friend, you have to first be a friend. And if you want to work with folks on the other side of the aisle, you've got to have a willingness to do it. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm naive. I'm not naive about what I would be facing. But we've got to have people who are at least willing to extend the olive branch and get up from behind the desk, walk across the aisle and say, let's work together. Because as things now stand, we're getting nothing. And people are really, really frustrated. And as I have campaigned across the district, what you hear people say over and over is, let's get rid of everyone. We've got to start over, because let's throw them all out.
What's your game plan? Both of you are against people. How long has your opponent been in office?
6 years.
6 years. Okay, so he's kind of new, I guess, you know, so to speak.
He has a massive war chest.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
He has a massive war chest.
Okay.
Okay.
And what's your game plan to motivate the base? Because you've got a little bit of a different case, I think, with you. You've got somebody who's been in there.
And we're speaking about John Lewis.
John Lewis.
Right.
He's got name recognition. Not that we weren't trying to mention that, I just forgot to mention that. John Lewis. He's got name recognition. He's got reputation.
Right.
What are you doing to motivate maybe a different type of base to come out for you instead of the same who are kind of locked into that?
Well, you'd be surprised. Let me tell you. Seniors,
they don't think it's broke.
Seniors have jumped on board my campaign like you would not believe, because they have been one of the main groups saying, listen, it's time for a change. You know, we also participated in the civil rights movement, and one of the visions was that we would be able to pass along many of these opportunities. But they also recognize that things are simply not getting better. In fact, they're getting worse. You know, as I stated earlier, I have parents that are seniors, and I certainly hope that my mom and dad will be around for the next 10, 20 years. But the threat that we're facing with Social Security and Medicare, I'll tell you, while my parents will be here, Social Security and Medicare will not be here. And so we really have to work on that, and seniors understand that. But the other aspect of it is we've been knocking on doors. We've been letting people know that what we want them to at least be aware of is their options and know the facts. Don't just go into the voting booth and do what you've always done, because things aren't getting better with you doing what you've always done. Don't just vote on a name. Know the facts, know what's going on in your district, and I am absolutely convinced When people hear the facts, when they know the facts about the district, I believe that they'll say Michael Johnson is not just our best choice, but really our only choice to move us forward.
I've got a very different challenge, in that my district is very heavily Republican. One of my benefits is I understand business. And I believe that the people in the district, in good faith, voted for Tom Price. And I don't believe he is the candidate that they thought they were voting for. I think he is too conservative. I think he is too my way or the highway. And I think the people are tired of Congress not getting to any decisions. So I'm going to work in a number of ways. One, I'm going to mobilize the Democratic base and get them excited again about getting out to vote, because we do have a chance of turning Tom Price out of office. And I'm going to work with the independent base and the leading right Republicans, because a lot of them are not necessarily social issues voters. And the far right is pushing the social issues to the point that is excluding many people and leaving them behind. And many of them say the budget is irrational and we can't do it the way we are currently trying to do it. We need to find a different way. Another thing that Einstein said is the thinking that got us into this problem is not going to get us out.
Absolutely.
And the thinking that got us into this problem is going to bury us. So the moderate Republicans, I think, understand that. And I'm going to work with them and see if we can get people moving back towards the center. You need dialogue. You need people willing to cross the aisle and work across the aisle. You need people willing to listen to all kinds of opinions. And I'm actually a fairly quiet person. I like to listen. I want you to talk to me. Tell me what issues are, what concerns you. Tell me where we need to go. I may not agree with you. And I'll probably tell you I don't agree with you. If I don't. If I do, I'll probably tell you I do agree with you. But you know, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to look at alternative approaches. I'm willing to put forward alternative approaches. I'm willing to throw stuff against the wall that makes no sense, just so that we get the dialogue going. And I'll do that on the campaign, and I'll do that in Congress. You know, it's time that we started moving back towards the center and remove the polarity from both sides.
Well, before we get out of here, just very quickly, Hope Scholarship. We've asked all the candidates about their views on the Hope Scholarship and its requirements. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the Hope Scholarship initially started out as a scholarship for those in need. We wanted to help the least of us have better opportunities, more opportunities. And then as a result of the Hope Scholarship flourishing, the lottery grew and more money came in, the requirements were changed. But as the requirements changed, we started to leave behind the true impact or the true reason why we implemented the Hope Scholarship in the first place, and that's to help the least of us. So we've got to get back to the point of where we've got to get back to the true meaning of the Hope Scholarship, and that's giving the least of us an opportunity to have access to opportunities. Those students that show promise, those students that are hungry for a higher education, and we've got to give them that opportunity. And I think if we do that, and if we focus on that, if we focus on why we actually implemented the Hope Scholarship in the first place, then the path will be very clear to how we get back to where we started.
You know, it's hard to disagree with that. I'm very strongly in favor of the Hope Scholarship. It's not a national issue that we could address through federal Congress. It's an issue we have to address in the state. I'm not fully understanding with lottery revenues at an all-time high why funding is not there. And I really can't speak authoritatively on it yet. But perhaps one of the things we need to do is put in a means test. And perhaps there are some people that just earn too much. Now, I don't know what percentage of the recipients are in that category, but we need to get the Hope Scholarship funded. It brings up people from It's the way that people are upwardly mobile in our society. And we need to get these people ready for the next generation, for the next economy. The 21st century economy is not going to be staffed by people with 20th century educations. So there's got to be a way to get it funded. I don't fully understand it, but I think great minds can work together. And if we can work together across the aisle in state Congress, in the state Senate, if we can get enough people, enough Democrats into the Senate, so we have to work across the aisle, then I think we can get to a way to fix it. Okay. But we can't get to a way to fix it when the Republicans control more than 50% of both houses.
All right, well, I mean, we've definitely enjoyed the two of you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Jeff Kazanow and Michael Johnson, 6th and 5th districts respectively, and all the other candidates we've had to come out. We just want to thank you once again for being here and letting people know who you are and what you have to offer, and we look forward to your success, and definitely be following you and checking you out, and hopefully we get to see and talk to you gentlemen again, and hopefully you win your race. I mean, I would like to see a change.
Well, thank you so much.
Definitely.
I will come back anytime. I appreciate it.
Yes, I enjoyed being here. Thank you very much.
All right, so on behalf of my co-host here, Nicole English, at the end of the day, I'm your host and founder, William Bo Martin, right in the B Lounge, bringing it to you.
There'll always be sunshine when I look at you. Something I can't explain, just the simple things that you do. And if you get lonely, and we'll share tomorrow together. Oh, yeah. Good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, the multiple dimensions band.
It takes over me.